Yo, we got the guys and we're gonna talk, and now it's time for the Lootcast.
Listen up, everybody.
Yay!
It's a lot less effective with just two of us.
It is. Should we try it again?
Nah,
The old way?
They get it. I
Wait.
might have touched them. Yeah, no. Let's fucking keep going.
Okay, we're just gonna keep
going.
We're gonna keep going.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Well, today on the Lootcast, we're talking Last Jedi
Yeah.
because we're late to the game and I don't care. Because
It's been a week?
I don't know.
Week and a
I just feel like anyone who is covering this at all
Covered it like a week
3
before it came
weeks.
out.
Yeah, it's been nothing. All that people were covering for a month.
Yeah.
Because it was such a big deal. Although it wasn't as big a deal as Force Awakens.
Well, no, but there was like a huge wait for that
And
one.
that I know, yeah, it was a giant
Yeah.
wait, but like, I still expected after how universally liked that movie was, pretty much,
Mhm.
that this one would have a lot of hype behind it, and like, but it was pretty much, it went back to just like the people who really love Star Wars were excited about it, and no one else really cared.
Well, this one, I don't know if you know, I don't know if you've heard, but it's not exactly universally liked.
No, I've heard that some people, in fact, despise this film.
I've heard that it might have 54% on Rotten Tomatoes with the audiences.
Yeah, which anytime that happens, I always wonder how much of it.
Is like a bit.
Well, there's that, but then there's also the idea that it's the same reason like a lot of online polls aren't accurate, because the people who really liked the movie aren't necessarily going on there and scoring it,
And voicing their opinion.
and the people who hated it are looking for a place to tell people
They're
hated
very
it.
vocal about it.
So like I feel like that sways it a lot to make it
Yeah.
look a lot worse.
Yeah.
Because like I don't do that. I don't go on there and rate movies after I see them.
No.
Because I watch movies for me and not for
Yeah, who would
For-
review movies?
Yeah.
Who would
like who.
talk about whether or not they liked a movie or not?
That'd be really, really dumb, and I don't know
How
why anyone would
narcissistic.
ever think that their opinion on a film should ever be voiced
Yeah, what a dick
in
person
any
that
way.
would be.
Especially not to take any sort of time to edit together
Oh my god.
and to
like,
write it out and like
put in that
meticulously
actual
plan.
work.
Like there's this guy, it's some bullshit about it's like slacking or something, and
You see, yeah, look at that. That's not a good thing off the start.
Yeah, he's
I don't want to hear his opinions if he's slacking off.
yeah. Not only is he telling you right out the gate, like I don't give a shit enough to try, but I'm gonna bitch about these people who spent tons of time trying.
What a prick.
Khalil has a channel, by the way.
Oh yeah, I have this thing called Slacker Productions, and we do Slacker reviews, and we talk about movies and shit. But I don't think I'm that guy.
No, I don't think you're that guy.
No.
Definitely not that guy.
No.
But yeah, I think that sways the the opinions on the movies.
So Last Jedi, did you like it?
I loved it, and I'm glad we waited to talk about it because at first I didn't,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't dislike it, but I didn't know.
You had to let it sink in.
Like, I watched it and I walked out because I went and saw it with Mike.
Yeah.
And
Mike Turkeys.
yeah, Mike Turkeys. We went and watched it, and we walked out of the theater, and he's like, "What'd you think?" And I was like, I have no idea. I have no idea what my thoughts are on this thing. I have no thoughts right now. I can't tell you. I
Right.
can't articulate any of this. And then we talked about some of the moments for a little bit, and I was like, okay, yeah, this was good. This was good. This was good. And like I realized like I wasn't saying like, oh, this was stupid or this was bad. I didn't really have any of that. And there were some risks that it took that I don't think really played out as well as they thought they would. But I don't think anything really like failed it
Right.
in any way.
Sure.
So and after I let it sit for a couple of days, like every time I was there talking to somebody about it, I was more excited about it.
Yeah, because it made
And-
choices that you just didn't think they would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the longer it sat, the more I realized how much I really liked this movie.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's 10 times better than Force Awakens.
Oh god, yeah. It's my third favorite Star Wars film.
I think that's where it's at for me too.
Yeah.
It's definitely up there.
Yep.
It's one of my favorites. And I have not watched Rogue One still. So
Oh,
I can't.
that one is very in the middle.
That's what I've heard from most people.
Yep.
I just didn't interest me. I get it,
Yeah.
but that was where I was like, man, this whole Disney thing's gonna kind of suck.
yeah.
Just like I don't want a Star Wars every year. I like the time that's put into them, and I get like
because it shows.
Yeah.
It usually shows.
and now it just feels like a lot of the problems with like the whole extended universe that Disney got rid of they're doing that now it's just like, we just gotta keep putting out content. Just keep putting it out there. Keep throwing as much Star Wars as you can out.
Money.
Yeah, but that was what they were complaining about with Star Wars when they that's why they retconned all that shit.
Because it wasn't their money.
Yeah, they're like, well, we can't have people making money off this, so now we gotta make money off it ourselves.
Yep.
But like they were like, oh, the stories don't, we can't tell the story. It's not gonna line up. All this shit. It's like, well, now you're gonna start telling stories that are actively not going to line up at some point.
Yeah, until someone else buys them out.
And then we started all over again.
Yeah. Star Wars forever.
Yeah.
Yay.
But I to stick to this one, I did really, really enjoy it. I think Ryan Johnson did a great job with it.
Well, that's what I loved about it, was that it's Ryan Johnson's movie. You know, when the credits rolled and it said written and directed by Ryan Johnson, and it wasn't written by 6 Disney executives.
Yeah.
I loved that. And it showed. It definitely showed that this was all Ryan Johnson's choices. And maybe he was reeled in a couple times. But it was a nice collaboration between a big company and an indie filmmaker.
Yeah.
Because he was telling the story that they wanted him to tell, but also he was telling his own.
Yeah, and a lot of the story moves that he made are not things that Disney was going to come up with on their own. Like,
oh, for sure. Yeah.
If Disney were in charge of this thing like they were with The Force Awakens, and like Abrams did fine. I don't think Force Awakens is a bad film, but I think it's a boring film.
Yeah, and it's what we needed.
Retelling, and it made perfect sense to do it that way.
Yeah, it's definitely what we needed to get us back into the series. And I remember thinking that this is basically A New Hope, but I was totally fine with it.
Yeah, I wasn't upset about it.
Yeah, it brought us back to Star Wars after the shit show that was the prequels. And with this one, I was really hoping that it wouldn't be just a retelling of Empire. And even though it had a few callbacks, like visually, to Empire and even Return of the Jedi, I thought this was definitely its own Star Wars movie.
And it did a good job of fitting into the Empire slot without being Empire.
Yeah.
Like
it was the dark turn that Empire was for the original trilogy.
It still had that motif to it without it ever just saying like, yeah, this is Empire.
Yeah.
Look, Empire's happening.
There was no I am your father. Nobody got their hands cut off.
Right.
It was nice.
So obviously there's going to be spoilers in this because we're going to talk spoilers.
Yeah,
today.
Spoilers from here. We like the movie. You know that now.
Yeah, so now we're going to talk spoilers. So I think my favorite sort of like moment that it hit that like is that Empire moment is the I am your father moment, but it's instead of like having that reveal, having it be that her parents were nobodies.
Oh yeah,
that her parents don't matter to the story.
The anti-reveal, and I had that conversation with John Scalise, who also does Loot Suits.
Yeah, he's been on the Lootcast a couple times.
We were talking on our way to the movie about Rey's parents and how there's all these theories. Oh, it could be Obi-Wan. Oh, it could be Luke. And I was really hoping that it was no one, because that makes her such a stronger character.
Yeah.
Because everyone makes the Jedi out to be like, oh, you're born into it. But you look at the prequels, I highly doubt any of those people had Jedi parents, or that every single one of them had Jedi parents. Obi-Wan, we don't care who his parents are.
Yeah.
He's a badass, and like he's just his own badass. And I loved that Rey was just Rey. She's not born into it. She is a new hero.
Yeah.
We're telling her story.
It was a really nice moment of like, okay, we're not connecting her to every other Jedi now.
I remember like we were all arguing. My sisters were in the back of the car, and Scalise was saying that he kind of wants her to be connected to the Skywalker clan. But I mean, we already have Kylo Ren for that.
Yeah, like, there's already the connection. And then with like that was one of the things in the theories and everything too. And like at that point, it was all going off trailers and little bits of information. Where it's like, oh, they're brother and sister. They're brother and sister. They have to be. And then like the mind link happened, and I was like, don't make them brother and sister. Yeah. Please don't do that. Right. Which was a great misdirect.
Yeah. Oh, of course. And you could tell that Ryan Johnson or the marketing team or whoever was really smart about what they put in the trailer.
Yeah.
And how to sway people a certain way, because it went the exact opposite direction of everything I thought.
And that did a really good job with that. And then, one of the greatest misdirects that they did it with this whole trilogy is that Snoke's going to be the big bad up to the last
Yes!
moment.
I loved that he wasn't really a character. He was more of a plot element.
Yeah.
He was there so the plot could get Kylo Ren to where he needs to be for this trilogy.
Yeah. And it was really done well. Everything
yeah.
with them. And there was another Empire nod / I guess at this point, because it's Disney, we'll just say a Phase 2 nod.
Sure.
And I don't know if you caught it because it's real
His
quick.
arm.
His hand.
His arm does stay.
When the body falls, it's still there. I was like, he lost a hand.
And,
this is amazing.
To show how much I like this movie, I've seen it 3 times now.
I want to go see it again. I haven't seen it a second time yet.
Yeah.
I need to.
I've seen it 3 times, and I didn't notice that until the second time. Because like now I'm like the shock has like wore off, and I'm like, oh shit, his hand's still there.
Yeah,
that's great.
I think the only reason I noticed it is because Mike went and saw it before I did. So when we saw it, it was Mike's second time watching it, and I asked him questions, but I was like, dude, half the time I'd ask him questions, be like, no, don't tell me. We're going to see it tomorrow. It's fine. Don't tell me.
Sure, yeah.
But like one of the questions I had, like, does someone lose a hand? And he's like, no. And I was like, someone's got to lose a hand. And I saw that, and I was like, Mike, you lied. Someone lost a hand. Granted, he lost, his life, but also his hand is gone.
But I mean, that was such a great scene because you see the lightsaber turn towards him, and your brain the whole time is like, he's not gonna do it. He's not gonna do it. You think like the rebels are gonna start like blowing things up, and it's gonna take a turn. Everyone in that situation is going to live.
Oh, see, I really thought that as soon as I saw it turn, I was like, oh, he's doing it. This is happening. He's really gonna do it.
Like, I don't know. I just wasn't expecting the balls from a Disney Star Wars movie. And then the way it happens is so fucking brilliant. Where like you see it, you see his shot for like a couple seconds, and then you see him force grab the lightsaber, or no, Rey force grabs the lightsaber after that, and he's in half. He just like falls over, and you're like, oh shit, and then it just goes into a big action scene from there.
Well, even like the moment leading up to that is, and again, it's Snoke was just a plot device in that moment where he's giving him the Star Wars Destiny speech the whole time. And it's so good because that's before you see the lightsaber move or anything, and having it flip to that, like, oh, he did know he was going to kill somebody. He didn't know it was him that was going to get killed.
And it's a nice little
And it plays on the hubris thing, which is like a huge theme in the whole movie.
Yeah. It was also a nice little way of like fighting the angry fanboys. Of like, oh, he would have known that he was going to cut him in half. He would have known that he was going to kill him. It's like, he sensed that he was going to kill somebody. He sensed that he was going to kill the person he was against.
Well, and it shows that the Force, even by people who are very connected to it, whether on the dark side or on the Jedi's, whatever, it's not this all-powerful, all-knowing thing.
Right.
Like, it puts you very in tune with things. So yeah, he could totally sense that. That doesn't mean he can see exactly what it is, and it's
not a superpower.
Yeah,
and I loved how well Luke explained that for Rey during that scene.
Yeah,
because like it was good visually, and it's some weird visuals that we just don't normally get in a Star Wars movie.
There were some amazing visuals in this film.
Yeah, because a Star Wars movie is usually cut and dry, which is fine because we're getting some like great things within those shots.
Yeah,
but this was like a filmmaker making a film. It just happened to be Star Wars. And when Luke was teaching Rey about the Force, I think everything that we got in that scene was just brilliant.
Yeah, there was a lot of really cool moments like that. I think that if I'm thinking about the right thing, like I'm trying to remember the visuals from all that, because this whole movie's a lot to take in. Yeah. But there was a few times where I was just like, this is just so much. It's so differently shot than everything else from Star Wars.
It is the best shot Star Wars movie
by far the best shot.
Everything on that fucking salt planet was goddamn gorgeous.
That's Mike's favorite line in the whole movie is when the guy tastes it and he's like,
salt.
It's salt.
The guy to his left,
or
I guess the guy to our left when we're looking at the shot, is Gareth Edwards, the director of Rogue One.
Is it really?
Yeah, because Rian Johnson got to work on the Death Star in that movie, so Gareth Edwards got to be one of the rebels in this movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But Mike loves that line, and like in that moment, I didn't even understand why he said it because I was still like, why are they reusing Hoth?
Nope.
And then like a whole minute later, I was like, he said salt. That was what the reason for the line.
And it was almost borderline meta.
It was.
You
It
know,
really was.
Because it could taste the salt of all the viewers going, "Ah, it's just Hoth."
And I've used I've used that shot as a GIF when people get mad, and I send that as it's salt. And like but as soon as I got it, I was like, oh yeah, that's why they put that there.
Right.
And it works on both ends of that. Like,
and it could be also, since Gareth Edwards is in that shot, Gareth Edwards like talking about the salt against Rogue One.
yeah.
Yeah.
It works on a lot of layers.
Yeah.
A lot of salty layers.
This movie was borderline meta. There was a lot of that with it because it's kind of running away from the old Star Wars. It's doing everything that a regular Star Wars movie wouldn't do. And one of the main lines that reoccurs is, let the past die, kill it if you have to. And that's kind of what this movie did.
The movie does a lot to kill the old storytelling ways of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And I think it's because Rian Johnson knows that he has to.
Right.
Because this, especially if Disney's gonna Disneyfy it, you've got to make it able to survive on its own.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, what we were saying before, Force Awakens did its job exactly the way it should have. It worked on the nostalgia. It brought everyone back into the franchise. This movie had to break away from that.
Otherwise, it would have been awful. And honestly, I think that's why a lot of people hate this movie, is that it's not the regular Star Wars story.
Yeah.
It does run away from Star Wars cliches,
but
which is what I loved about it.
In a lot of things, it does use from old Star Wars that people are trying to say it doesn't. Like the whole, there's people that are pissed off because Luke, there's like, well, Luke would never be this grumpy old man who, and it's you fucking
he's 30 years older.
Yeah, well, it's also just like, he's not the first Jedi to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because a lot of it was like, well, he would have stayed and fought and did everything. It's like Obi-Wan ran and hid in a cave. Yoda lived in a swamp after everything went.
Yoda was exactly that old grumpy man.
Yeah, that's what the Jedi do. That
right.
And for them, there's the survival element of it too. But it's all a consequence of what they did wrong at each time it's happened. And this being the third example that I can think of off the top of my head, that's especially in the mainstream films and not going to Clone Wars and everything.
Yeah.
That's an element that's existed previously and is well used here. I think it was very well used.
Crotchety old men happen.
Yeah, and then to layer it on even more, to have Yoda come back.
I loved that scene.
It was so good.
The first time I watched it, I had no idea what Yoda said, just because I was freaking out so much over it. But then
I was just so excited it was a puppet.
Yeah, exactly. And the second time, it all sunk in, and he said some solid Yoda lines.
Yeah. It was a well-written Yoda scene.
It was a great speech. And okay, so I don't know if you noticed this when you saw it, but Rey has the books.
Yes, they were in that drawer.
The Jedi texts. And Yoda says to Luke, there was nothing in that temple that the girl doesn't already possess. She took the books. Yoda, you sly
I didn't
bitch.
think about the line when I saw the books later.
Right, exactly.
Because it's far enough apart.
Yeah.
That I just didn't even realize it. But yeah,
Yoda, you
awesome.
Sly motherfucker.
There's so much of that in this movie too.
Yeah,
it does so much of planting those seeds and getting the payoff later.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why it's so good for rewatching. Moments sink in a whole lot more when you know what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Luke's death. I didn't realize he was gonna die. Well, when I saw him get sliced, I was like, oh, Luke's gone and he's gonna do an Obi-Wan. And then it cuts to him sitting on the rock, and I'm like, oh, cool. Luke's alive. He's gonna live forever. And then he turns into a robe.
Luke's died. Luke's dead, and he did an Obi-Wan.
And it was hilarious opening night because the audience was dead silent when Luke died, but you could hear me off to the side going, "Oh," when his robe just flies off.
Oh,
oh.
I really enjoyed that too. I thought that was a really good choice to make.
Yeah, and plus the line that he gives.
Yeah,
if you strike me down in anger, I will always be with you. Whatever. I thought I teared up. I teared
It
up.
was really nice.
I
Well,
was-
and it was so like one of the things I loved about this movie too was the comedy was like actual comedy. It
Yeah.
wasn't.
And that's another thing that people hate was how a lot of people think that humor was poorly done, but it got me
Yeah, there
every
was some
time.
really really good jokes in there.
When they
And
were
like that's one of them. Like,
yeah.
and it works because it's not just a joke. Like it's funny because of what follows it up
Right.
with him slicing and it's like, "Oh, you can't actually. I'm
Yeah.
not really here." But then like it's still true. Like what he said is still true in that
One
moment.
of my favorite scenes was when the Millennium Falcon shows up near the end, and Kylo Ren is just like, "I want all guns on that piece of junk ship." Like it's hilarious because he seems like a little crybaby, but like that ship has got to have like a lot of emotional
Yeah.
impact for him.
Like you especially people who like to bitch and just say that Kylo Ren is just a big crybaby anyway.
Right.
I feel like those people in those moments don't even make the connection of like, "Oh, that's his dad's old ship."
Exactly. Yeah, that's his dad. Like it's got to have so much emotional impact.
Yeah.
for him because he killed his papa.
And he knows that Rey has it.
Right.
Like, so it's a double hit
Yeah.
there for him.
Yeah.
It's a double whammy, kids.
I loved everything his character went through in this movie.
I liked his character a lot more in this movie than I did in the first one.
because he seems a lot less like a whiny little bitch.
Yeah, I also really enjoyed like the immediately when the film started, they were like, "Okay, we got to destroy that helmet.
Yes, I loved
We have
Well,
to
like,
get rid of the
Snoke
helmet."
in his opening scene was a lot like pissed off audiences.
Yeah,
You let her beat you, a girl who had never held a lightsaber before. It's like, yeah, a lot of people had a problem with that.
yeah,
But also, what was it? Was he shot? He was shot, right?
yes.
That's why he was bleeding. Like, he was shot and like near death during that
yeah.
scene.
He wasn't
So-
doing too hot.
Right. But yes, and then the second he enters and Snoke is like, take off that ridiculous helmet. It's nice to know that was another little touch that Kylo Ren had. That wasn't
Yeah.
like, oh, you're evil. You have to wear this evil helmet.
Yeah,
It
it was
was-
like him trying to emulate his idea of what it meant to be a Sith.
Exactly. And that shows in his lightsaber too, how
Yeah.
it looks like shit compared to most lightsabers.
Yeah, they did a lot of really good things with him in this movie, and I also is it Hux?
General Hux. Yeah.
Another great example of taking a character that no one really gave a shit about
And just
and being like,
running with it.
"You're gonna be awesome in this movie. People are gonna talk about you."
I loved how much he was shat upon in this movie.
Right?
Everyone throws that fucker around.
And it starts immediately.
Yes. Oh yeah. General Hugs.
Yeah,
Yes.
I loved it so much.
That scene was beautiful.
That was like the moment I was like, okay, even if I don't like this movie, I'm gonna laugh. And I'm
Right.
gonna have fun.
My favorite scene involving him was when Kylo Ren is knocked out on the ground and Hux sees him, reaches for his gun. He wakes up and he puts his coat back over
Yeah.
his gun. It says so much about his character while also being a funny, entertaining scene.
Yeah,
Just something very throwaway. You don't blink it.
but also knowing that he would totally kill him if he had the chance.
Which adds such an awesome dynamic to the whole villain side now.
yeah,
Because now it's Kylo Ren and Hux. Where the fuck is that gonna go?
yeah, the whole Supreme Leader moment was, it was a nice. It set it up very well to make me interested to see how this plays out with them.
Exactly. Because
Which is crazy because those are the two characters that you probably gave the least. Like you either, I know most people didn't like Kylo in the first one.
Right.
I'm among them. I didn't really like his character in the first one.
Yeah.
And no one even gave a shit about Hux.
He was a side character.
Yeah.
I called him Hitler Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was surprised at the use of Phasma in this one.
I didn't like it.
I didn't really like it either. And I think that's one of those risks they took that didn't pay off.
That was one of my few problems with it. Because again, with this one, she was kind of built up to be more than what she actually was. And I don't know if that's another Rian Johnson meta thing saying, oh, remember how much you loved Boba Fett?
And-
Because it's basically the same amount of screen time that Boba Fett had.
Yeah, well, and I never understood why people were so amped about Phasma.
The toy looked really cool.
Well, but that's like, and the design is awesome. Phasma's character design is kick ass.
It's badass. Plus, she's played by Christie,
Y-
Game of Thrones tall lady.
Yeah, I don't watch
Gwendolyn
Game of Thrones.
Christie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yes.
People have told me that, and I'm like, I don't watch the show. I don't know.
But yeah, it was very exciting for those people because she's a badass in that show.
Yeah, and I get all that, but like everyone's like, oh, she's gonna be such a big thing. It's such a big thing. I'm like, what in one clued you into her being this amazing, unstoppable character?
Right.
And so that's what people wanted. And I was kind of glad that if it's, I mean, I'm assuming she's dead. I don't
Me
see a way she can't be
too.
dead.
A lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, she's gonna have like a big comeback." It's like I don't.
But
think
why?
so.
Why would she? And I think that she got the disappointing death that her character deserved.
Exactly. She was the Boba Fett of this.
Yeah,
franchise.
and that's why I really like that comparison to it, because she really didn't do much.
No, but neither did Boba Fett. And
Yeah.
he was such a huge thing.
And,
And he became a bigger thing on his own on
Yeah.
the side stuff. And she does have, I think, her own book. I think she has comics, whatever.
See, I
apparently-
don't get into the books and stuff.
I don't
just,
either,
There's just too much.
but I like to hear about it.
Yeah,
You know, like
when people reference it and tell me it, I'm like, okay, that's awesome. That's really
it's cool that they did these little things for the people that do take that extra step.
Yeah,
Yeah. But, you know, just watching the movies, she's a nothing character.
she is, and I was, I think the reason that I was excited to see her go is because I know a lot of the people that were telling me like, oh, Phasma's my favorite. It's gonna be awesome. I love Phasma so much. I'm like, you've not read any of that stuff either. You don't know. You don't know what's in it.
Right.
You're just excited for the chrome one.
She's shiny.
That's I feel like this was Ryan Johnson taking our shiny toy away.
That's the
Like this whole movie is Ryan Johnson being like, you see all this? You see the thing you liked? We're done with it.
Fuck you.
We're finding new things. You're an adult now.
Yeah, that was this movie. Star Wars, you're an adult now.
Star Wars Episode 8, grow the fuck up.
Yeah, deal with pain.
Oh, but Luke didn't do that. Yeah, Luke did some bad things. He messed up, and now he's dead. But I wanted to know. We're not doing it.
I
Nope.
didn't want Luke to kill Kylo. Like I loved that scene as well when he has that like just 1 second moment of like, fuck, I gotta kill him. And a lot of people bring up, well, he didn't kill Darth Vader. He saw the good in Darth Vader. And a part of me is like, well, yeah, that kind of goes to show you how much evil was in Kylo Ren.
And it's also a totally different scenario.
Because, you know, the world has been in peace for probably at that time, like 25 years.
Yeah.
They haven't had any evil in it. And the second you see evil, it's like, don't fuck this up for everybody.
Yeah. And it's like it is the parallel. Like you can say, yeah, he didn't kill Darth Vader. He saw that, but like he wanted to kill Darth Vader from the beginning of that. As he
Right.
was learning the Force, that's where he started, and like that's where he saw the good. So that's the opposite end of the spectrum, as opposed to having this good that you're responsible for molding,
Right.
and then that evil shows up inside it,
Yes.
and that's terrifying. And it shows the parallel between him and Vader that still exists, that there is still that piece of the dark side still exists inside him.
Yeah. I loved Luke's character arc in this movie.
Yeah. I don't care
thought
how
it
much people
was-
bitch about it.
No.
I thought he was interesting.
Exactly. He wasn't the Luke Skywalker that we grew up with,
Yeah.
which is fine because he's something new. He's growing as a person and a character, which makes for a much more interesting character.
Yeah, he's not the goody two shoes. He's not and he had those moments in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
But you never really thought he was gonna turn.
No, and it's funny because Mark Hamill has gone on record saying he was hoping that's where his character would go with Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
But now he hates where his
Yeah,
character
and then
went.
because then him and Ryan Johnson got into it when they went through the script the first
Right.
time, where he's like, I don't agree with this being
This isn't Luke Skywalker.
the way that he goes.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
You're right. It's not anymore. He's grown.
Yeah.
He's been through hurt. He's been through pain. That's what happens to a person.
like I feel like if like being Ryan Johnson, having written all this out, just like as soon as like someone said like, I don't think this is where Luke Skywalker would have gone, I'd be like, why has he been on this island for 30 years?
Right. Okay. Well,
Explain that to me.
and here's a plot hole that was brought up to me that I do kind of agree with is a plot hole.
What is it?
The map that was left behind.
Yeah.
Why was that map left behind?
Yeah, that's it. it was a MacGuffin the entire.
Yeah.
Like I was like, what? Really?
Well,
What?
like, and that's another thing is apparently there's no big plan for this. It's not Kevin Feige with Marvel. They're letting each director tell their own story with these movies. So J.J. Abrams was in control of the plot of that, but nowhere past that. Well, I guess now with the ninth
'Cause
episode.
is he doing?
Yeah, he's
9?
coming back for 9.
Okay, that's what I thought. So I wasn't sure.
Yeah, yeah,
I couldn't
it's
remember.
official. He's coming back for 9. But yeah, with this one, Ryan Johnson, all he had done was read the script for Force Awakens, watched not a couple, but like quite a few dailies from Force Awakens,
Yeah.
and wrote a script from there. So he didn't know about any of the theories and or like all the crazy stuff going on. He was
Yeah.
just trying to make a movie. But that's why the next one, who knows where it could go. I really hope J.J. Abrams doesn't Disneyfy it.
Yeah,
You know?
I hope
Doesn't
that,
reel it back.
like, I know that because Ryan's got his own trilogy he gets to do,
Which I'm excited
which
about.
is awesome. But I really, really hope that he's in some way at least involved in the writing for the next one.
Yeah,
I hope
don't
that
know.
Abrams at least involves him in some aspect,
Because
even
he
as
added,
even as a script consultant.
yeah,
Just some, because he made way too many choices to now suddenly not be attached to anything with the next movie.
right. Yeah, I hope so too, but I don't know if that'll happen. I guess it just depends on how much J.J. Abrams liked the choices made.
Yeah,
in this.
and that's
And that's another thing, because he started this trilogy, so I guess he does kind of have to have some kind of idea where he wanted it to go.
But who knows if that's even possible anymore.
Exactly. So I don't know. Come talk to us in like 2 years.
Yeah, well,
That seems not long enough to make a movie to follow this up with.
right? Like, man, I feel like I'd be writing for 2 years,
Yeah.
and then I would still like not even be close to done.
Because like after this, it's like, what the fuck? Poor JJ.
Well, because there's a lot of people who, I mean, a big debate that I've had with friends is Kylo gonna get a redemption in the next one? And I don't think he will.
Want him to.
I don't think he will though, because he had his chance in this one. He had his redemption moment.
If it was going to happen, it would have happened here. He would have teamed up with
Yeah.
Rey. But
and they, I feel like that's played out now. They can't do the redemption,
no.
and I feel like if they do, it's gonna really cheapen everything that's built up to that moment.
Exactly. So I don't know. We'll see. It'll be a disappointment, but
and then you've got Carrie Fisher is still alive
exactly
in this one.
When they talked with Ryan Johnson about it, he said, when they came back from break, all of her scenes were shot and they were in the editing process at the time. And so he discussed with the editor what they could do to like give her an ending. And every single thing that they thought of was something that would have been gross and manufactured. Like it would have tarnished the great performance that she gave in this, which was pretty great.
Yeah.
It was more than she's had to do in any of the Star Wars movies. But yeah, he felt really awful, like ruining her good work. So he played it out. He edited the movie the way it would have been edited if she were still alive, which I thought was the right choice for this. If you have all of her scenes shot, just let it be the performance she gave.
Yeah.
Don't ruin that.
Like don't. Well, and it's weird. Like today, like that's something that's we have to think about. Like, oh well, franchise. What do we do now? And it's but it kind of goes back to anything that was a trilogy, but like back then, or any franchise entities like that were all treated as their own movies. You wouldn't have cut it differently.
Yeah. No, the only one that was Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And that was the worst of the 3 original movies.
So it's I'm glad that he treated it like it's a standalone. And he says, no, we're playing it out. We're doing it the way that it was done.
But
and we're not going to take that away from
J.J. Abrams, because that is a big torch to take.
Well, and somebody told me that she had her scenes filmed for the next movie, and I was like, how?
No.
They haven't done anything for
They didn't even have a director until after this one.
I was gonna say,
like
that wasn't...
Yeah.
Because they did for a while, and then that went away.
He made a really shitty movie, and so Disney was like, oh, we've parted ways due to creative differences.
he started a garbage fire, and
Yeah.
we've moved on.
But yeah, one thing I thought was maybe the next one would start, like it would open on General Organa's funeral. I think something would have happened between the two movies.
Very Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
You
I mean, obviously not it's not a noble lie kind of thing, but yeah,
Right.
like having it be like that's
That's
where
we
we're
open.
picking up.
Yeah, because otherwise, yeah, you do have to do CGI Leia, or you have to
And
have
I really
her.
don't want to do that. I don't want to see that. I don't.
No, God, no, because it was awful in Rogue One. Because they're spoilers for Rogue One. There is Leia at the end, and it was CGI Leia, and I saw it opening night, but then like a week later, was when Carrie Fisher passed away. So like I can't really watch that scene the same way again, because
Yeah.
you CGI'd a character, and now that character can't be played by that person ever again. And
Yeah.
it's just a gross thing to think about, which is why I was also kind of against Tarkin. Because they recast Mon Mothma in that movie,
Yeah.
but Tarkin was a CGI dude. It's just weird.
It is. It's weird, and I don't like any time they do that with people
Right.
where they CGI them into, like, if it's a thing, whatever. Like, it's CGI's everywhere, fine.
Yeah.
But because they did it with Paul Walker in the Fast with his
Right.
face on his brother,
Yeah.
and it's just it's weird. Like, can you imagine, especially with that, where like he had passed before they were editing.
Right.
Can you imagine being the editor who has to sit there and you have to put this person's face onto someone else's body, and you better make it look perfect because this is the last thing they're ever going to be in?
Exactly. You are this person's legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's too much to put on a person, and also that it's never received well.
No.
People never like it.
No. It's
So I do hope that they just treat it like let's pick it up where she's already passed, at least. Like don't make us have to see that moment.
Yeah. Because I think that's the only way to not cheapen it.
Yeah.
You know, not say, oh, she died on this ship that you didn't see the ship, but she blew up on that ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just opening up with us all sitting in that. It's also I feel like that's a nice way to remember it.
A nice farewell.
Like, this is a way in the franchise that she helped make.
Right.
We're now sitting in that grief for a moment in the franchise.
I think that would be great. You know, and having characters at that funeral would be a good moment for the actors.
Yeah.
You know, that would be a beautiful scene, because the emotions there are gonna be real. Because her and Oscar Isaac became like awesome friends during the filming of this movie. They had a lot of really good scenes together.
Yeah, they did.
I was very surprised, but because like they built it up a little bit, like Oscar Isaac talking about how much they became friends over the years, and I thought that was just like, oh yeah, she was awesome. I liked her. I liked being around her. But
And then you see it, and it's like, oh, you guys were like,
yeah,
really working well together, and like
there was really
you could
good
see a lot of the
between
chemistry
the
there.
two. And I think having Poe Dameron talking at her funeral would be just a beautiful scene on so many levels.
And then you have to, in some way, get a laugh in there, because otherwise you're not really remembering Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. Yeah. Have her dog walk in somewhere.
Yeah. Have C-3PO do something dumb that would annoy her.
Yeah.
something that Carrie Fisher would laugh at.
Right.
Maybe not Carrie Fisher just altogether, because otherwise you'll have to like have some sort of cocaine joke in there. Because she did love making her cocaine jokes.
Also, one thing you didn't know about Leia, oh boy, did she love her coke.
I love watching her interviews and stuff, because it amazed me that after all the years, people still thought she was going to give a serious interview about Star Wars.
No.
And it's like, no, she's going to come on there and she's going to talk about drugs. And she's going to
gave
talk about
no
everything
shits.
except for Star Wars.
Right.
She's going to tell you some embarrassing sex story or something.
That was one thing I loved, was when that whole thing came out about her and Harrison Ford doing it on the set of Empire. And they like confronted Harrison Ford. Oh my God, is this true? And he's just like, yeah, it was the 80s. I hardly remember it. It happened, whatever.
It's weird being all excited about Star Wars again for me. Cause like,
yeah, I'm more excited about Star Wars now than I was with Force Awakens.
and that's what I was gonna say. Like, I was not this excited after Force Awakens.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this was great. Star Wars is back. And then like, it kind of passed. I was like,
right.
well, I guess when the next one comes out, I'll go see that one.
Because we have to.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
But like this one, I'm actively just excited to see where things go.
Because I have no idea. Because when I saw the trailer for this one, I thought I knew everywhere this would go.
Yeah.
And how the next one would go based on that. But now I have no fucking clue where this trilogy is going to end.
You know what? Even if Abrams decides that he wants to try to follow the more classic storytelling of Star Wars, it's at least nice that Ryan's made it impossible for him to just carbon copy.
Yes.
Because you can't at this point.
Right. There's no way.
You don't have the elements you need to pull that off.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for that.
He turned the franchise so that no matter what, it's going in a different direction.
It's almost as if he was almost out of fuel and he turned the ship around.
Da, 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 da.
And he shot himself into light speed and created one of the most beautiful shots that's ever existed in cinema.
The one thing that ruined that was at the opening night, there's this like group of ghetto kids in the back. So like
Did
during
they yell John Cena?
Yep.
Did they really?
No.
During
that
the
scene,
I didn't know.
I don't know why that was my go-to. But during that scene, you just hear, "Oh, damn!" And it's like, all right.
I think they should add that to the original cut.
Admiral Akbar is dead at that point.
Yeah, because
R.I.P. Admiral Akbar.
Akbar and all the other leadership have died. That line, I was like, just not gonna. You can't.
We're not gonna have a moment for Akbar.
But like the fact that it was literally like because it was that Leia was okay, and then Akbar and these nameless few
and
have
everyone
died.
else who you don't know.
Akbar, the big fish-headed man who you only know from memes, and those other guys are dead.
Well, see, that was another kind of gross thing because the actor of Admiral Akbar also died after filming the scenes of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't get a moment.
No.
No.
Well, and again, I think it's the other side of them not recutting the movie because of something.
Right.
Is that's how he was going to die in the movie. And now that's how he's dead in the movie.
Yep.
Even if it feels a little gross.
There were bigger fish to fry.
You son of a bitch. What did you think about how Leia saved herself? Because honestly,
I didn't like it for a second.
I still don't like it.
Yeah.
I still don't like it. And so the part of it was because I thought that was the goodbye. I was like,
right.
Oh, it's and like the close up and like the crystals forming. I was like,
and her theme starts playing too.
Yeah, I was like, this is beautiful.
Yeah,
and I love this. And then she
Superman flies.
Yeah, I was like, oh no.
There was a second where I had that. Like I started laughing. Actually,
I did too.
And but then after that waft over me, I was like, that was kind of badass though.
But she's never done anything with the Force in the movies.
She communicated with Luke.
That does not count as being in the vacuum of space and flying like Superman back into the ship you were pulled out of.
Here's my argument against that. Because we were shown that she is Force sensitive. And 30 years have passed since we've shown that she's Force sensitive.
Well, then why didn't she use the Force in the last movie? I don't know, Anthony, because Rian Johnson was making you grow up.
So, like, you got to think within the 30 years, Luke's got to know she's Force sensitive, and he's like, okay, here's how you do this.
And I get that. I get that there's time that's passed and that she would learn things. That's fine.
Right.
It's like I feel like there had to be a better way.
I don't know. Because I've never seen Luke take a shit in the movies, but that probably happens.
But he's also never used a shit to save his life.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like, if you never saw Luke take a shit and then he got sucked into the vacuum of space and shit his way back to the ship, you'd be pretty pissed off.
Yeah, if he shit his way back. But I kind of want to edit that, but I can't because it would be too sad.
It would be sad.
But no, I was okay with it.
I mean, and it wasn't like derailingly angering to me. It was just I just didn't like it. I just didn't like that
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
It didn't make any
And
sense to me.
like I said, I get it because yeah, there was a little bit where I didn't like it, but then I was like, you know what? She's badass. She's a badass character. She deserves to be badass.
See, I just feel like she could have been badass in a different way.
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't need to give her a big Force moment.
Yeah.
You know, I always liked that she wasn't
Well,
a Force user necessarily. You know, I
only when she had to.
I'm just saying that would have been nice to see a different way.
Yeah. True.
I felt it could have been more creative in that moment.
Well,
but
I mean, there's
you know,
also
then
the thing of like maybe there was supposed to be more to that. You know, in the next movie, there could have been more with that, but
it just felt like such a big thing to do to be like, oh, she can do this now. By the way,
yeah.
and again, it didn't make me hate it or anything.
Right,
I just
right.
is, I wasn't totally down with that choice. I wasn't down with the clown on that one,
I liked it.
but it worked. She got back.
Right.
And I'm sure that, like, I don't dislike it as much as I did when it immediately happened because I thought it was like their goodbye to her.
Yeah.
And then I felt betrayed when she was
I
alive.
felt like they were taking
and I was
it
like,
away.
oh, why hurt me twice?
And they had that a lot in that movie. And like, you know, there's no way they could have known at the time.
Yeah.
But there were so many moments.
There were so many times in that movie where it was like she was just saying goodbye to us.
Like when Haldo was going to stay on the ship, I thought Leia would have been like, no, I'm going to stay on the ship. And that's how they would have said goodbye. But no, when
then
she
the oh, I've said it so many times.
the scene with
Yeah. And it's like even right now I'm like, oh,
it's gorgeous. Yeah. And what really got me was when they both go to say may the force be
that's
with
what I'm
you
talking about. Like
always.
the oh, I've said it.
Yeah.
Said
Oh,
it so many
that.
times.
Okay. Okay.
And she lets her say it and was like, oh,
Yeah. And her scene with Luke got me probably the most.
yeah.
Out of anything in this
that
entire
was
movie.
just sad.
Well, because we're basically saying goodbye to two characters. Because it's supposed to be a goodbye to Luke,
Yeah.
but you know,
But
they
the whole
didn't-
thing feels like a goodbye to Carrie.
yeah.
And then Luke dies.
And when he says nobody's really gone, that, and then he holds her hand and then he kisses her on the forehead.
The whole thing
It
is
was-
so beautiful.
Uh,
And like that again, another moment that feels like, oh, this is a nice goodbye to Carrie. This is
Mhm.
great. And then Luke dies. You're like, I was not prepared for this.
Which is why I think my little sister had like an emotional breakdown. Like she told me that when she woke up for school the next day, she was still crying. Her eyes were still puffy.
Oh, do
Yeah.
you want to explain your sister's connection
Sure,
to Luke?
yeah. So my little sisters grew up being my little sisters. You know, I taught them Star Wars. They played all the video games. They watched all the movies. And my oldest sister, who is 15 now, she grew up with Luke Skywalker as her childhood crush. You know, she was in love with that character. And like something I've never really thought about before this was watching a childhood crush die, like someone who like a teenager watching Justin Bieber die on screen, basically. Like that's got to be weird. That's got to be weird.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. There's got to be times that it's happened to us. There has to be, but probably not to the same extent. You know, there's not the
Well, I mean,
legacy of.
I guess there's Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
You know, someone who we idolized in that way is now no longer with us. And like out of all the celebrity deaths in the recent years, which there's been a shit ton,
Yeah.
Carrie Fisher might have hit me the hardest because that's Princess Leia. You know, and my little sister had to watch Luke Skywalker. That's Luke Skywalker
Yeah.
die for her. And for Christmas, I bought her one of those little pop bobblehead figures of the old Luke Skywalker because, you know, I thought, oh, look, he's with you forever. But the second she opened it, the second she realized, oh shit, this is Luke Skywalker, it came up again and she started tearing up again.
I still think the best thing you could do is I don't know. I'm assuming you can't, but if you could take the like the head out of the robe, so it's just the robe, it'd be so amazing.
Hey, look, remember he's dead?
Look at it, your dead hero. So okay, wow, we hit 50 already. We're at 50 Ming Mang minutes.
Well, good for us.
So I didn't think of a question for the end of this one. Can we talk about the light speed moment? I like it that we talked about all this. We didn't even touch on the B plot of this movie at all with Finn and Rose.
Because, yeah, here's the thing. The movie doesn't really start until they kill Snoke.
Right.
Which was my one problem with the movie, was the pacing of it. It did, the first time I saw it, I thought it did take a little bit to actually get going.
A little bit. I'll say it did a little bit. I was willing to let it go though. Just
because it paid off.
Yeah. Well,
it definitely paid off.
And my favorite thing about this entire movie, the reason that like after I sat and thought about it, I loved it so much, is because every bad thing that happens is the hero's fault.
Yeah, and that was the main message.
The heroes fuck up everything in this movie.
And that's what Yoda's main message was in this movie, because he always has that like inspirational quote.
Yeah.
And in this one, it was something along the lines of like, failure is the best teacher.
Yeah.
You can't teach her anything. Failure is going to do that for her.
And also telling Luke to learn from the failure instead of sitting there and
Luke is
living
still
in it forever.
Yeah, and I thought that was such a brilliant thing, because like now we're all adults. We don't need that like, oh, hope is great inspiration. Now we need life sucks. A lot of shitty things are going to happen to you, but learn from those shitty things.
Well, and that's like the best part of that B plot, is because like Benicio del Toro's there for one. Great.
Yeah, he was amazing.
He was amazing. How did we not talk about that this whole time? I don't know.
My favorite line from him, I guess I can't really remember the line, but when he's talking about the person who owns the ship.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, look, they sell weapons to the bad guys. And they're like, oh, yeah, fuck him.
Oh, looks like he sells weapons to the good guys, too.
Yep. And then he's like, there's not really a good or bad. It's all fucked up.
Yeah.
I liked his character a lot.
I did, too. And he was there for just long enough to serve his purpose and then disappear.
Right. And I'm glad that when that ATST starts shooting back, that it wasn't him going, oh, I've changed my mind about everything.
Because that started happening. I was like, don't you fucking dare, Benicio.
Right, because that ruins that character.
Yeah, and then it didn't. And I was like, oh, yeah, he's still a dick.
Yeah, who is this? Well, like, he's a very solid middle ground.
Yeah. Well, and he's that part of even heroes and bad guys like that you're never sure about, like that he's the self-preservation aspect of both sides.
Exactly.
He's I'm here to make sure that I'm good.
And the scene that really instilled that was when he takes the necklace and then gives it back, because it's like, oh yeah, I needed this just for a moment.
Yeah.
That shows you that
like you see because like he agrees to help them because he
needs to get out.
He needs to get out, and they have a way to
help him to get out.
And then as soon as that's wrong, he's like, well, I need a way out of this now. Oh, you'll do? Okay, cool. I'm on this side now.
He's
like,
the Deadpool
he is
of the
just
Star Wars universe.
Self-preservation. And that's it. And I love it. It was so nice to see that in a character in one of these movies.
Right.
But the B plot does a really good job of like really playing out one, disregarding the usual Star Wars storytelling, and two, that message of failure, because that whole plan is no more far-fetched than anything else that has ever worked in a Star Wars movie.
Right. And
the fact that every single piece of it goes wrong and has insanely huge consequences.
And I loved that.
Lots of people died because of how much they fucked up.
That whole B plot was a fun Star Wars adventure, but then it had like the most tragic payoff out of anything in the movie, because like that had to be hundreds of rebellion dudes.
Yeah. Out of an already hurt army from Poe's fuck ups.
Exactly.
And then he's the catalyst behind that as well.
Yeah.
And the reason it works is because you see the learning moment later.
Right. I think really the only problem I had with that B plot, which everyone fucking hates, everyone who I've talked to,
everyone hates it so much. I liked it.
Yeah, no.
I liked it.
Like I said, having seen it 3 times, I don't really have any problems with it. Like,
and it did a nice little job of like showing us that even though no one's responding to the distress calls, even though their plan fucked up.
Yeah.
They gave those people a sign of hope there.
Exactly.
Even though it's small, even though
and that's
they
why the
messed
film
up,
ended on that.
Yeah, because that B plot, you can hate it as much as you want.
Right.
But that was showing you what the rebellion is known for.
Exactly. Which we
It's
never
that
really got to
little
see
piece of
with
hope.
the original movies.
Yeah.
We only saw like the main rebellion guys. But the thing that I didn't like about all of it was how they got there. Was they're like, "Oh, we'll call Maz Kanata."
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Maz
that was
Kanata shows up for like
a
a
second.
really awkward scene.
Yeah, it was really out of place.
It felt like a reshoot, which I don't know if they did for this movie, but it definitely felt like a reshoot. Like everyone reacting to the screen just felt very manufactured.
Yeah.
It felt very not what the rest of this movie was.
And like that was really one of the only scenes that I would say like had no reason being in the movie.
Yeah, like there had to be a better way to get them there.
Yeah. I would have even been more willing to accept it if just like one of the characters is like, I know this person who hangs out here.
That's what I thought Poe was gonna do.
And like, because it would make sense. Like, if anyone to do it, like Poe would know that, like that kind of information.
Yeah, he's that
would
shady
know
kind of
somebody,
guy, right?
And so, like, I expected it to be like that. You know, I never expected Maz to show up. It didn't make sense for her to show up, and then she did, and I was like, why do you have information right now?
And she was my least favorite character of the last movie, and also, out of like the 5 people who were in that room, why did any of them know Maz that well?
Right?
Finn never really interacted with her, and he was the only person who was like in the same room with her.
Yeah.
In the last movie, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because Poe shouldn't know who she is, and neither should Rose.
And I mean, like, sure, she's like, I guess she has to have like a reputation, but she doesn't know any of them well enough to just take this phone call during like whatever battle she was in.
It was very strange. It was very out of place.
A better way to do it, I'm sure.
Yeah. But I overall, I don't care what people say about that B plot. I really liked it.
No, yeah, and I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, and it did a good job of not forcing the levity into the A plot, which didn't really have room for it a lot of the times.
Right. Exactly. It gave us a break from being very extremely depressed.
And then to use the thing that you've been using to make everyone feel good this whole movie and say, hey, you know all that fun that you just had? Well, now people are dead because of it.
Right.
we probably shouldn't have done that. It's like, boy, isn't it great how sometimes the things you enjoy the most are the worst thing for you?
Yep.
And then everyone hated the whole thing anyway. It's like, well, fuck you guys, no fun. I really liked it.
Yeah, I think Rian Johnson had a really good quote on that because they asked him about it. They're like, so a lot of people hate this movie. How do you feel about it? And he's like, well, I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. And when I was writing it, you know, I had the option to either A, make a movie that was like Force Awakens, that was nothing but fan service, and then have people hate it regardless and make it be a movie that I personally hate, or do the movie I want to do and know that people are still going to hate it.
Yeah.
Even if I gave them what they wanted, there would still be people that hated it. So I did what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I made the Star Wars movie I wanted to see, which that's how you should go about making a Star Wars movie.
Yeah. I think that he did a really good job. Well, it's like goes back to what I said. Like no matter how much people tell me that they love Force Awakens, I don't hate it, but it's never going to be one of my favorites to watch. It's not one I'm probably really going to watch again unless I'm doing like a marathon viewing of all of them.
Right. When I do marathons, I do the original trilogy and then Force Awakens.
Yeah.
Never the prequels.
See, I feel like I would still watch Phantom Menace just because I love Darth Maul so much.
Darth Maul's kind of cool, but
I'd probably do some scene jumping.
Yeah, I don't know if that movie's really worth. You know what's funny? I don't think I've seen episode 2 all the way through.
Oh, because it's the worst one.
I don't think I've ever like actually seen all of it.
Well, you probably wouldn't know even if you had, because it's just fucking forever talky.
Yeah, I watched.
It feels like they discovered that you could have dialogue in a movie, and we're like, whoa, let's only do that. Dude, fuck the lightsaber. No, everyone sit down and talk. Let's show them how Senates work.
George Lucas, you madman, you made the movies you wanted to make.
And he was like, yeah, but look, E.T.'s in it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if that's in the second one or not.
I think it might be the
E.T.'s in
third
one of
one
them.
because I've seen that.
Yeah. No, I despise the second one. People all, like, the one that people talk the most shit about is Phantom Menace. And they'll be like, oh, worst one they made is like, well, probably because you forgot the Clone Wars existed or Attack of the Clones existed, because
no,
it's
everything I see
god-awful.
from it just looks like garbage.
Is that the one where he says he hates the sand? Or
Yeah.
is that in 3?
No,
that two?
it's 2.
I hate sand.
It's
So
coarse.
coarse gets everywhere.
Uh,
I feel like that whole scene was them like waiting to shoot, and there was just sand everywhere, and Hayden was just like, "I hate sand. Like, why is this here?"
don't do that to Hayden Christensen. Don't make him be that dumb.
No, like a genuine concern of like he didn't think there was supposed to be all this fucking sand everywhere, and he's like, "What? I hate sand. Why is this sand everywhere?"
Well, like that whole thing was filmed on a blue screen. Did you know that they made not one singular clone trooper suit for the entire prequel trilogy?
They didn't make one.
No, all of it was CGI. Not one clone trooper in that movie was a dude
Even
in
when
a
they
suit.
show them, because I know it's all the same guy,
Right.
Because they're clones. That's how the clones work.
Yeah, that's that guy wearing like
But he didn't
a
wear
ball suit.
even
No.
when like they showed him with the suit on but without the helmet.
Yeah, that's an
That's-
animated suit
he
around
just
him, like
has-
an Iron Man type thing.
That seems like so much more work than to make one suit one time.
Yep. Yep.
Why?
Because he's George Lucas.
Oh,
and-
fucking George Lucas. Okay. Well, final thoughts. Last Jedi. Let's get out of here on a good note.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about the fucking prequels.
No, that was a bad idea.
So what would you say? I don't know what question we should do. I like ending this on a question. It's always fun.
Yeah.
Except I don't know if I call the last one fun.
But that was
Yeah. Nothing about that one was really a fun topic though. But do you have a question? I don't have to come up with the questions all the time.
Star Wars.
Questions about Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
What do you think was the most impactful scene? What was the
Ooh.
scene that like really made you go, "Oh fuck, this is different"?
So this probably isn't the most impactful story wise.
Mhm.
But as far as like the most impactful moment for the franchise, I think, as far as like saying we're not doing the same old shit anymore, was the silence of the ship light speeding through.
Yeah.
Because that moment happened, and that is the moment that I was like, I can't wait to see where we go from here.
Yeah, no.
And that's not a feeling I've had in a very long time for Star Wars.
And it was
so-
also part of like an amazing character arc.
Yeah,
That's something that like people don't really talk about. That
yeah,
character
her
started
arc is
out
amazing.
and you hate the fuck out of her. You know, and it's funny, it's a very weird movie to compare this to, but 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Yeah,
It reminded me of Sam Rockwell's character
yeah,
in that, because like you start out hating that character and then you turn into like, oh, I kind of respect this person. I
Well-
understand who this person is. They had, I guess, you know, Sam Rockwell's character didn't have to be the
yeah.
asshole.
Well,
but
like he didn't get it. Wasn't that his moment wasn't the redemption that this is, but also very different movies. Like,
yeah, right.
it was in the form of that movie, yes, very much so. But because even the main character is a garbage person.
Yes.
But yeah, I know what you mean when you compare the two, and it not to keep on like the whole meta topic, but it's also a very meta thing that they did with it. As far as like responses to fan criticism, it is very much because like the fans are Poe and all like it's
Yeah.
the fans are everything that Poe does in the beginning of this movie.
Because
Just
Poe would
we
normally,
he needs to be more of everyone's badass and everything's a pew pew cha.
and the movie's like, settle the fuck down.
Yeah, and the movie does that, and you hate it. You're like, no, fuck you. You need to be
Right.
doing so. You're not taking action. And then they got the escape cruisers. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you fucking wuss. How'd you stand your ground?
Star Wars Episode 8, grow the
Grow
fuck
the
up.
fuck up. And it's like, oh no, don't worry. I'm gonna do the most badass thing anyone has ever done in Star Wars.
Yeah, truly.
And like I feel like that character was just Ryan Johnson like putting himself into it like this is how I feel writing Star Wars.
Yeah, these are things that we have to do.
Yeah, it's like understanding that like yeah, this looks bad and I know that you're not going to be happy about it.
Right.
But if
Don't
you
worry,
but if
there's
you
a goal
trust
here.
me, something amazing will happen.
Right. If you trust me, I will go head first at light speed into a Star Destroyer.
And it'll be one of the most amazing things that you've ever watched happen in a movie. Because you knew it was coming, too. Like,
Right.
they slow built that motherfucker. Like, as soon
All
as that
guns on that ship.
and as soon as the ship started turning, I was like, oh, they're gonna do it.
And
it
off
takes so long too. I'm like, oh, come on, just do it. And then pew, and the sound goes away. It's just
Well, because there's a lot of other things building up at that
Yeah,
time.
and it does a
because
really good job of just like increase, dead silence.
the best orgasm I've ever had.
Yeah. And it even looks like someone jizzing on the screen.
Star Wars!
But like the black and just the streaks of white, it just looks like that is just the cum of the franchise spreading out over the audience.
You're welcome, audience. There's that for you.
There, have you reached completion yet?
But yeah, no, because the whole Finn and Rose thing is building up.
Yeah.
They blew up a fucking lightsaber, which we've never seen before, which was also extremely badass.
Yeah.
But then immediately after that, we see the most badass thing ever done in a Star Wars movie. Yeah.
Because I feel like that moment, like the lightsaber breaking moment, was supposed to kind of have that feeling of like the
Right.
like that was supposed to be like it was supposed to make us feel like the ooh moment of the movie. And then, seconds later,
Yeah.
we shot a cruiser through a Star Destroyer.
Oh my god.
It was by far my favorite moment of the. I think it might be like one of my favorite moments of the entire franchise.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But that's just me. What did you think was the most impactful?
Mine was moments before that when they slice good old Snooky Snoke in half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we have two Andy Serkises in the movie. But how do you think they mocapped that? No, but I love that scene.
It's like the idea. Just because in my head you said that, and I was picturing Snoke flying around as a torso, and then his legs trying to keep up. Even though he's never, I can't think. Did he ever walk?
He got up.
He did get up. Yes.
He got up from his chair.
Yeah.
I think he did kind of do like a crouch walk up to something at one
Because I was trying to think, I'm like, I'm sure he did, but not to take away from your moment. But when you said two Andy Serkises, that's all I could think of.
But yeah, no, that's the moment for me that showed me that this movie was going to be a much different Star Wars movie. Because yeah, he was built up like an emperor type character in the last movie. And even in this movie, you see him do a lot of badass stuff.
One, if it weren't for the other moment, like that would be the defining moment of this entire film for me.
Yeah, because it's like, fuck everything you think you knew. We're going a complete different direction. And yeah, let the past die. Kill it if you have to, which is exactly what this movie did in that scene.
Yeah, it killed the past, and it did it in such a good way of like that didn't resolve it.
Right. There was still
that wasn't a
things
resolution
to do after that.
And
there was still a fight.
In that moment, because the whole way that played out, I really enjoyed, because it was he kills Snoke, and then they fight together, and then there's still like that's what the catalyst going forward is now.
Right. And
the past ultimately isn't an issue anymore.
Exactly. And another complaint that I'm totally against is people saying, "Oh, that should have happened in the 9th episode." It's like, right. That usually happens.
Guessing what happens. Where's the fun in that? That's not a story anymore. It's a template if you do it that way.
Yeah.
And I did a really good job of preventing the next one from being templated at all.
And the fact that also we're just done with all of that and we're going somewhere completely new is such an exciting thing for both a Star Wars fan and just a film fan. To see a franchise go somewhere that I have no idea where it's going to go.
And people can say all they want, this movie betrays Star Wars or whatever they want to say. No, even all the turns it takes, it never betrayed the core concept of the Force having to be balanced.
Exactly.
Because it ends the movie in balance.
Yeah, well, that's
Because
I
Snoke
think,
is destroyed, and at the end of it, Luke has to as well. Because those are two strong
and
forces
I think that's
on
what
both
that
sides.
scene was. A lot of people were complaining that like, oh, he died because he was tired. Why didn't he just go to the planet and die if Kylo Ren's gonna kill him anyway? I think that was him being one with the Force.
Yeah,
You know, he was searching for this. This is the moment he was waiting for.
yeah.
Rey is now a Jedi because we're intercutting while he's dying. We're intercutting with her lifting the rocks,
Which
and
was the best thing.
yeah,
It's not just lifting rocks.
right. But I just thought that was such a beautiful ending to his story, is him being one with it.
Yeah.
Him being one with the Force, not him using it so much he got tired and died. I really don't think that's what happened.
No, I to me it was that it just yeah, he became one. Like they in that moment, like through what he did, there was no difference between him and the Force any
Right.
longer.
Yeah.
So he just it's the same thing with Obi-Wan. It's
Exactly.
that through his actions he
trained
reached
Luke
a oneness with the Force, and he no longer was needed as Luke.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I really liked that it was balanced out because this whole movie's theme of kill the past.
Mhm.
The fact that they worked that into a way that still is true to the balance of the Force by killing Snoke, and at the same time that you do that, you can't allow
Luke to
Luke
still be alive.
to be alive anymore. So they maintained the balance of the Force, and I love that so much.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was, I think, one of the truest Star Wars things they stuck to, and no one's talking about it. No one
Because they're
cares
pissed
about
off that
it
Luke
at all.
Skywalker's dead.
Is which I get, like, but it's also just as a film, as any franchise in general, like, it's
Right.
really nice to know that we're not like we gave him his movie. He had his movie where
Yeah.
he got to be.
He was
front.
redeemed.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, as crotchety as he was in this movie, he was still redeemed at the end.
Yeah.
And he was the spark of hope.
Yeah.
Because of him, people around the galaxy are now telling stories. Luke Skywalker stood against the entire First Order, even though he didn't. It
Yeah.
reminds me of that episode of Rick and Morty where Morty almost gets raped by King Jellybean.
And they burn the foot.
And the little after
The
credits
memory of
scene-
what he
Yeah,
what he was better than the man he whatever the line is.
exactly. It reminded me of that.
It's going back to Dark Knight Rises with the whole thing with Harvey. It's the noble lie. It's
the symbol of hope.
yeah. It's the while it might not be true, it's more important.
And the
than
line that
truth.
really pays off involving that is when Ray is trying to get him to like get up and go fight. He's like, "Do you think me, just like an old man with a laser sword, is gonna stand up against the entire First Order?"
right.
And then he
And then
does.
he does it. The whole movie did such a good job of like placing those lines and
Yeah.
then having them play out.
And every time I watch it, I notice something new, which is why I love going back to this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's I almost said Force Awakens. No, that's Last
That's
Jedi.
Force Awakens. There you go.
Yeah, we'll go watch the Last Jedi now because we haven't seen it. But no, I'm very excited for Star Wars. I'm really glad that me and you got to do this podcast together because I've been waiting to talk to you about this movie, and I was like, don't even ask him about it until we sit down to talk
Awesome.
about it.
Yeah.
Because we started talking about it in the kitchen, and I was like, no, go to the room where we
Start
have
up
the
the
recording
mics!
things because there's no reason for us not to record us talking about this.
Right.
But I'm very excited. I'm also scared a little bit, which is nice. It's a good fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm scared in a very good way because we got all the young bucks that get to go off and fight their own war.
Which is kind of awesome because I think a lot of these characters do need more time.
Yeah, and that's it's nice that has to happen now.
Yeah.
That there can't be any reliance on the old ways.
Right. We've killed the past.
Yes, the past is dead, even though one of them isn't dead in the movie, which is going to be sad. That wasn't a joke. I wasn't making a jokey joke.
I know. I'm just sad. That's my sad noise.
It's very sad. But, again, we have to move on now. We have to find our way going forward with with all of it. So
don't fuck it up, JJ.
yeah, JJ, don't fucking try to retcon any of this Last Jedi shit because you think the fans hate it.
We know you're listening.
Yeah, we know that you listen.
Fucko.
You fucko. How about this for a movie, JJ? It's me eating your back.
Don't explain it. Don't explain that reference.
Nope, I won't. I
Don't
won't do it. If you want to know what that reference is, fucking
Google it.
Go either Google it or find it in another podcast we did, because we did explain it once.
Yeah, so fuck you for not getting the reference.
Yeah, dick.
Fucko.
Fucko.
All right.
Oh, we
Did we do a song at the end?
I don't know. We did last time. I don't remember what
Did
it was though. It was we had the we talked and now it's done. But I'm done.
All right, it's over.
Yep.